Welcome to Here to Be Human, a multi-dimensional soul. This is not just a podcast, it's a remembering. A space where soul meets skin and the sacred meets the messy. Where spirit is not something you escape into, it's something you embody, here in this beautiful, chaotic, breathtaking human life. Each episode is a living transmission, a weaving of energy, truth, reflection, and remembrance, with questions for your soul, messages from beyond, and invitations to meet yourself in ways you've never dared to before. Whether you're walking through shadow or starlight, you belong here. I am Julie, your guide, your mirror, your voice in the void. This is Here to Be Human, and you are right on time. You chose this, not because you had to, but because something sacred called you here. To earth, to body, to breath, to becoming. This is Here to Be Human, a multi-dimensional soul. And this is episode 12, The Human Spirit Contract, Why You Came and Why You Stay. So let's open up this beautiful episode with a reflection prompt that I just want you to gently feel into it. You don't have to do anything with it. You can journal on it later. But just for now, just taking a deep breath in and out and feeling into these words. If you could remember why your soul chose this life, what would it say? And what part of being human do you resist most and why? So if you could remember why your soul chose this life, what would it say? And what part of being human do you resist most and why? And as we slowly move into our first segment, you said yes to being here. So long before you were born, your soul made an agreement. I will come to earth, I will take form, I will forget, and then remember. Even with the risk of heartbreak and loss, you said yes. That yes matters. That yes is sacred. That yes is still inside you. This life isn't punishment, it's potential. Your soul chose this not for perfection, but for embodiment. And in your own time, I encourage you to write out your own experience where you've had moments where you questioned why you came here at all. And just allow your story to unfold in that moment. Now let's open the space for a wonderful spirit, Source the Divine, to speak into this remembering for us. So our first question is, why did we come here as souls in human form? Alrighty. Make sure I do this question justice because it's quite a big question. So why did we come here as souls in human form? To experience a life beyond the higher intelligence. It is the soul in the human form that sends frequency and signals of our experience into the universe's higher intelligence data base. And I don't mean this to be a physical building in the universe. There is a higher intelligence out there. And I'm also not referring to aliens or anything along those lines. The higher intelligence is the force of the universe, the energy of the universe, and how it moves things around, how it orchestrates everything and all that is. And so, as the soul in the human form consistently is sending signals, I'm going to say data, to this higher, like the universe's higher intelligence, in order to understand the soul's evolution, in order to know how, in this given moment, in this parallel world, what is transpiring in other parallel worlds. And again, all this signal, all this data is heading back into the higher intelligence. Think of it as the mainframe of all that is. And in our human form, we are experiencing the messiness, the heartbreak, the grief, the joy, the excitement, the pleasure, the pain, all of it. And all this information, not only does it go into the mainframe, it then filters into the soul, the whole soul that is on the other side, to then understand, when I want to come back into this human form, if I would like to reincarnate in this human form, I now need to understand where the human race is at. Where is the soul's evolution from a human perspective sitting at? In order for me to want to come back into this physical world. And what are the lessons that I need to embark on if the soul itself wants a higher evolution in the universal stream of consciousness? Ultimately, that's why we came here. That's part one. Part two is, the more that we come back and learn and evolve, then we will ascend higher. Just as there is hierarchy or structure that we can see here in the human form, and how we can determine some form of hierarchical structure in the universe if we look at it like the cosmos and the planets and this and that, just to kind of let our minds grab onto like what is coming through. If the soul doesn't choose to reincarnate as a human, it means that it's learnt everything in this human form, as a human form. Now that soul is ascending and wanting rightfully and deserving rightfully, with everything it's been through in this parallel life as a human, in the other parallel lives as a human, it is rightfully wanting to ascend to a higher vibration. And so thus that soul could very well no longer be the soul in how we see it or the soul in how we know. And it becomes a part of the tapestry of the universal intelligence. And from that known soul that we know it to be is now weaved into the universe, being able to help how the universe is going to be shifting, sending downloads, insights, data, so to speak, into the consciousness of future revolutionary humans who are to help shift and change and revolutionize Earth as we know it to be in this existence and other planets in other existences. That is what the ascension is. I know we've been taught that, we have ascended masters and whatnot, and we can connect with them, and they are our spirit guides. And so that is kind of where they feel their biggest legacy is. But eventually, us as humans, we may not necessarily, and I use this word term like loosely, like need to connect with them. They themselves will elevate as we are elevating, and thus what we're wanting to communicate, or the energies that we're wanting to communicate, will actually be those that are weaved into the tapestry of universal consciousness. And we will get there as a race, as an evolutionary species. It may not be in my lifetime, in this incarnation, but definitely it will be in a future reincarnation at one point. And that is why we all come here, because we are part of the bigger picture. Yes, we have our own individual lessons and learnings and experiences, and we connect with other people, but ultimately, we're like the star that, again, is the thread in the universal consciousness. And so we are all needed. Our experience, our frequency, our signaling is all needed for the universe to elevate itself. And as it elevates us. And I do think that there is going to be a big revolution in the next 120 years. I know it sounds random, but that's just what comes through. So in the next 120 years, I got no idea when that is going to be. My maths is not the best. But that is kind of where I feel like there's a big revolution in human consciousness and how and who and what we connect to in order for our spiritual revolution. Oh, that was a big one. Anyway, okay, let's move on. Our next question to the beautiful spirit and the divine. What did we hope to experience through the body? Okay. Yes, I would love to know, what did we hope to experience through the body? Our senses. Our senses were the most important thing that we needed to expand on. All of our senses, our 6 senses, so not just, taste, smell, feeling, knowing, hearing, but also that spiritual connection to the self, to the divine. We hoped to experience new innovative ways on how to utilize the senses in order to allow us to heal mankind. And what I mean by that is through all of our senses, we were meant to create, on one hand, innovative ways to heal. And when I say heal, this doesn't have to be medically healing. Healing comes in many, many forms. Realizations are a form of healing. Clarity is a form of healing. Connection with another is a form of healing. So on one instance, we needed to come here and experience our senses and expand them in order for innovative ways to be created, for new things to be invented. And also, on the other hand, to allow ourselves to go to the depths of who we are, who we can become, and who we once were. So really, our body wanted to experience the past, the present, and the future, to bring them all into alignment, and to utilize the senses as a mapping tool to create an evolutionary shift within our frequency. And that shift in frequency connects back to what I was saying before about how we are sending data to the universal intelligence. Oh, these are such big words. Anyway. And again, this experience can be as simple as what it feels like to have a cup of tea, to what it feels like to be at one with ourselves on a really, really deep spiritual level. This is what we hope to experience through the body. And it's through those senses that the body can actually bring data into itself to learn how to move through this lifetime, but then also learn how to signal off to the universe. Because all the parts of our body holds an energy. It holds emotions, it holds a frequency, and our cells, we have millions of cells. And we don't necessarily, well, science doesn't necessarily know what all the cells and all the DNA is used for. Like, it's just like, us as humans are like the universe. We don't have all the answers about the human body. We're still learning. And the cells and all the body's organs and how it's operating is signaling out to that higher intelligence. But we need to use all of our senses if our body is to receive the data to then signal it off to universal consciousness and that higher intelligence. That's what we hope to experience. I thought the answer might be a little bit more simple, but I actually don't think it was. That seemed like quite an in-depth answer. I thought maybe we came to experience, I don't know, chocolate, sex, wine, friendships. I don't know. But obviously, we came to experience a lot more than that. That is just a byproduct, which are all great byproducts, mind you. They are just the byproducts of really what the soul's contract is to come here. Okie dokie. Okay, I thought this was going to be a lot. This is a very deep segment. Anyway, let's carry on. So, this is your reflection point for where we are at now. And I just need you to close your eyes if you can and take a deep breath in and out for me. Can you feel the part of you that once said yes to being here? And just see where it sits in the body, inside or outside of the body. Just let your senses speak for you. And now moving on to our next section. To be human is a sacred act. Being human is not something to escape. It's something to inhabit. The body is not a burden, it's a temple. Grief is not weakness, it's a portal. Life isn't lesser than the spirit realm. It's where everything gets felt. So here we taste, ache, love, build, rest, and remember. To be human is to be holy. To stay human, even when it hurts, is devotion. So again, in your own time, if you would like to tap into your memory, into your experiences, ask yourself where you've had times when you wanted to transcend the mess of being human. And so as we're moving on to continue to connect with the divine, with the spirit world, spirit itself, to speak to the human within us. So the question that we have for spirit is, what does spirit want us to know about the holiness within our humanity? Interesting. What does spirit want us to know about the holiness within our humanity? Holiness is a human construct. That to be holy means that you are free from certain aspects or free from what people consider that something is unholy. But ultimately, That true essence of holiness is within every single person, every living creature, every breathing plant, everything in nature is holy. It embodies the holiness energy, its frequency, its vibration. You were born holy. You cross over to the other side holy. There are no human rules or ways of being that determine your holiness. No one can tell you that if you believe in one thing versus another, that you are less holy than the other. There is no truth in that if we're looking at the energy of holiness in its entirety, in its purest of forms. And if we could all see each other as holy beings, regardless of the mess, regardless of the human experience, regardless of whatever that particular individual is connected to, it would create a deeper understanding of humanity, of the collective. We would have a deeper understanding of how to treat other people. We would have a deeper understanding, love, and patience. For those who are on their journey. We would be open to showing unconditional love without judgment because of our own insecurities, fears, or society's constructs. And that we will truly treat people as our equal, because that is what they are. That we would allow people the opportunity to grow, to evolve from where they once were. And if we remove that holiness is only given to those who follow a faith-based system, and live what would be classified as the perfect life. If we remove the thought that it's only for a select few, that it's only for those who follow a certain path, if we can remove that thought, and hold true from a young age that we are holy, that holiness, that energy of pure light and love lives within us. And holiness isn't only about light. Holiness is about the duality, the light and the dark. The divine feminine and the divine masculine that lives within all of us. That we are all equal. And that we have all been born from the same thread, the same tapestry as universal consciousness. And thus we are all the same. It is only us as human beings that create the divide. So our next question to Spirit is, how do we honor the body as a vessel for the divine? So how do we honor the body as a vessel for the divine? It is to be true to what you are feeling, what you are thinking, and what you are wanting to do. When people talk about that the body is a temple, and so how you nourish it, how, like, what you do to it, that is the key. And that to some extent is true here in the physical world if you're wanting to, with the markers that we have been given, as in like this is fit, this is healthy, this is unhealthy, or this is probably not the best thing right now for you to like consume or to do. But to honor the body as a vessel for the divine, that is to be of true service. That is to live your life. And this is not about, there's no such thing as living your life perfectly. You are a human being, and so your life is perfectly imperfect. And that is the key here. That I'm not saying use that terminology to negate anything that you're doing that you know is hurting somebody else or hurting yourself. This is more about being of service to yourself and to others, and using your body, using your voice, using how you show up, using how you connect with other people, because the body is the felt experience. The body is all the senses working together. And so the way we honor the body, the way we honor the divine, is to allow ourselves to be of service. And again, being of service doesn't mean that you go to church. It doesn't mean that you have to say hello to everybody and be pleasant. You have to honor yourself. That is being of service. Treating yourself as if it is the only thing that is important for your evolution. I'm not talking about you ignore, kids and family and partners. But you have to put yourself first when it comes to your spiritual journey, when it comes to evolution. How can I grow in this human experience, in the ups and the downs, in the messy, in the imperfections, in the joy, in the laughter, in all of it? And through that, still be of service to the people that I love and to those who I don't know, but maybe my story will touch their lives one day. That is how you honor the body as a vessel for the divine. And so your reflection point here is, what part of your humanity have you been trying to transcend that may actually be asking to be loved? So what part of your humanity have you been trying to transcend, push down, push away, that might actually be asking you to love it more? So now we're going to move into our next section, recommitting to the contract. Sometimes we forget why we came. Sometimes we want to leave. Sometimes survival makes us forget we're here to live. But today, you're invited to remember, and maybe even to recommit, not to perfection, but to presence, to walking your soul's path in a human body with open eyes and an open heart. You are not alone. You never were. And our last question to Spirit is, what support surrounds us when we forget our purpose or want to give up? The thing that supports us the most is, one, our conviction to stay on this path, to understand the human experience and to continue on with the spiritual journey, to allow the people closest to us that we love, to also allow people to be the catalyst for change, whether these are people in our life or people that we meet along the way. There are other human beings who are here to support you, whether that be in the form of a mentor, a counselor, a family member, a friend, or a lover. These are the people that help you stay true to you if you do forget your purpose or if you do want to give up. And outside of people, you have ancient tools, remedies, and practices that'll always help you remember who you are, help you get back into alignment if you veered off your path, but more importantly, will help you not give up. And your final reflection prompt before we move into the ritual is, if you could re-choose your life right now, what would it feel like to say yes again? If you could re-choose your life right now, what would it feel like to say yes again? And so before we begin this ritual, I chose to be here. I want you to find a quiet space where you can either sit down, stand, or lie. Be here with intention and let your breath anchor you. And you can speak out loud or to yourself. I remember the soul that chose this life. I honor the contract to be human. Even when it's hard, I chose to stay. Even when I forget, I return to my body. Even when I ache, I know I am becoming. I choose to be here again, and that choice is holy. Let your breath deepen. Let the body soften. And let presence return. And while you're in this space, if today were the beginning again, ask yourself, how would you move through life differently, knowing you chose this? Remember, you came here on purpose. You are not lost. You are not too late. You are not broken. You are human. You are soul. And you are here, exactly where you need to be. And our next episode is what I like to call the bridge, the space between season 1 and season 2. a moment to integrate before we move forward. But for now, breathe, be, and remember why you came. Thank you for being here fully. If today's episode stirred something in you, if you have a follow-up question, a reflection you'd like to share, or a way this conversation aligned with where you are right now, I'd love to hear from you. And if there are specific questions you'd like me to ask Spirit in future episodes based on what's coming up for you, send me a direct message at here.to.be.human.podcast on the Instagram page. Remember, your voice, your questions, your presence, they're part of this journey too. And if you'd like to connect with me more deeply, you'll find everything, sessions, programs, and updates over at www.moderndayMedium.com.au or on my Instagram page, which is at modern.day.medium. This is your invitation. This is the return. And this is what it means to be human. So until next time, stay with yourself, stay with your soul, and keep choosing this sacred, messy, and miraculous life.